Michael, a Russian warship taking what sounds like pot shots or warning shots at a yacht. Has that ever happened before in British waters?
Not to my knowledge, not recently. This is the Admiral Grigorovich. And this ship has been up and down the British coast for a couple of months. It normally sits off the Suffolk coast. Sometimes it goes up the Dogger Banks. Obviously, this time it had gone down towards the Normandy coast, the other end of the English Channel, I guess. It's even been resupplied. The Russians keep it there, and it escorts Dark Fleet tankers backwards and forwards up the Channel, because they figure, and they were right to figure that until this Sunday, that frightens off the British from doing anything, which it does. In March, the British government said, we will intercept Russian Dark Fleet ships passing anywhere near British waters. Since that time, over 150 ships and more than 200 transits have taken place. So the Russians have stopped believing us. On Sunday, the government then took this measure. The Grigorovich wasn't anywhere around when they intercepted this ship that was off near the Isle of Wight at the time, and they took it into Weymouth.
So the 1 million miles from where we
exactly,
are
quite a long way away.
Yeah.
Why the Grigorovich had gone that far south, I'm not certain, but it basically patrols British waters to frighten us into not acting on what we said we were going to do. And this is the whole point. Having initiated this action now, we've got to be brave, because the next time we do it, the Russians will be prepared to try to frighten us off. And so they say that they've got armed men on board some of these Dark Fleet tankers, which they have, though some of the security men don't seem to be armed. So they seem to have Wagner Group, mercenaries on board some of these tankers. Some are armed, some are not. At the point at which we intercept a tanker with armed men on board, there will be a firefight, probably.
So we can see the pictures of the tanker being seized on Sunday.
We did, yeah.
We could just show you those to remind us. So this is the operation that happened on Sunday.
That's right.
But you're saying that, as far as we know, there weren't people that were armed on board?
No, apparently not. And what the MOD did, they got the HMS Sutherland, which is Type 23 frigate, which is very important, as a good, powerful warship, thankfully, was available, and the Ledbury, which is just a mine countermeasure ship, that adds almost nothing, to be honest, a couple of machine guns, and that's it. But they had a couple of ships near, and then the helicopters, the Wildcat helicopters, and the Chinook, and the Merlins. So they were able to drop Marines onto the ship. They took over the ship, all very peaceful. It was easy, and NCA, National Crime Agency people, because if they're going to arrest anyone, the military can't arrest anyone. They can hold them at gunpoint, but to arrest anyone, you've got to have a crime agency officer on board. You need the police there to make an arrest, and they arrested the captain. So having done it once, if we do it again, it's going to get harder, because the Russians now will use the Grigorovich to sail up and down and challenge us. And the way around that is that we've got to be able to overmatch it, which means we need more ships than we seem to have available. If the Grigorovich is quite a powerful frigate, it used to be in the Black Sea Fleet. If we're going to match the Grigorovich, we've got to overmatch it with at least two Type 23s, which I don't think we've got available, or a Type 45 destroyer, and we've only got two in the water, and one of them's in the North Atlantic and one's in the Gulf, so we haven't got any of those. It's interesting to work out how we would do this, because, as I say, until now, the Grigorovich has acted as a deterrent to us being brave enough to try what we said we were going to do in March. Why the Grigorovich might have fired on a yacht, unless they just want to make a point and just, again, frighten everybody, that's possible.
We poke them, they're poking us back?
Maybe, yeah, that could be that. Or it could be maybe they thought that the yacht had journalists on board, or was some sort of unofficial British attempt to get close and that they needed to fend it off. Maybe they're just getting a bit paranoid because they know that we are now ramping up, not just us, but the French are doing it, and so are some of the Scandinavian countries, the Swedes and the Finns are now getting very keen on intercepting Dark Fleet tankers, and also these ships that drag their anchors and try to damage our cables and pipelines. So it's been going for 4 or 5 years, this campaign. And in this year, the Western allies have now said we're going to stop these Dark Fleet tankers. At any given time, there's anything from 400 to 1,400 of these Dark Fleet tankers operating around the world, and they're keeping Russia going by taking sanctioned oil all over the world, being sold at below market prices because it's illegal oil. But nevertheless, the tankers are very important to the Russians. It keeps their economy going. So we've been saying for ages that we'll stop this. And on Sunday, we took a small step to stop one tanker. And the first time is relatively easy. The second, third time would be tougher. And the Grigorovich is the ship that the Russians think is going to deter us from trying again.